Good evening, everyone. I will call to order the meeting of the Lincoln County Board of Commissioners on the 7th day of October in the year of 2024. If you would please stand with me as we recognize a moment of silence and remember during this moment of silence our neighbors to the west. Amen. If you'll now join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll first entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Have a motion by Commissioner Mitchum. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. I'll now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner McCall. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. So we'll now hear from Jeremiah and Andrew Bryant on zoning and public hearings.
Would the county attorney like to provide some rules of procedure?
Sure. So good evening. Tonight we will hear one quasi-judicial matter. So a quasi-judicial hearing is considered an evidentiary hearing where the board must make a finding of fact as enumerated in the Unified Development Ordinance. And these findings must be based on competent, substantial, and material evidence in the record as required by law. Therefore, we ask that no one speaking offer any unsupported opinions or speculations. Anyone wishing to speak at a quasi-judicial hearing tonight must be sworn in. So I need to confirm that no board members have a conflict of interest in regards to the case before us tonight. No member shall participate in or vote in a manner that would violate the applicant's constitutional rights to an impartial decision maker. Those impermissible violations of due process include a member having a fixed opinion prior to hearing the matter that is not susceptible to change, undisclosed ex parte communications prior to this hearing, or a close familial, business, or other association relationship with the applicant, or a financial interest in the outcome of the matter. Does any board member have such a conflict?
No.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
I'd like to add something, Jeremiah. After the applicant presents information concerning the next case, individuals who have signed up will be called to speak and are restricted to 3 minutes. Any individual representing a group, the group will identify by a raise of hands. That individual will have 5 minutes to speak, after which that person speaks. If you raise your hand, you will not be eligible to speak. Jeremiah.
Thank you. So we have one zoning hearing tonight. It's for special use permit number 516. Stephen Sharp is the applicant in this case, and he's requesting this special use permit for a private storage building on a lot that is less than 2 acres in size without a principal residential structure or a home located on it. This property is in the transitional residential zoning district. This request involves a 1.08 acre parcel located on the east side of Beth Haven Church Road, about 3/4 of a mile south of Vesuvius Furnace Road in Catawba Springs Township. The property is surrounded by property that's zoned transitional residential, and land uses in this area include residential and agricultural uses. This property is located in an area that's designated by the Lincoln County Land Use Plan as large lot residential, which is suitable for single-family homes at densities up to 1.35 units per acre. The Unified Development Ordinance defines private storage as a land use, as a structure that's used for storage consistent with the type of storage allowed in a residential accessory structure. And that structure must be residential in character. It must be owned and used solely by the owner of the property on which it's located. The structure cannot be rented. It shall not be used in any manner that would otherwise not be allowed in the zoning district in which it's located. and this structure shall become an accessory structure immediately following the placement of a principal residential structure or a home on the property. You have the applicant's proposed findings of fact in your packet, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have for me.
Any questions of Jeremiah? Okay. Hearing none, I'll now open the public hearing for SUP 516. The only person I have signed up is Stephen Sharp. Mr. Sharp, if you will state your name and address when you reach the podium, please, sir.
Good evening. My name is Steve Sharp. My address is 1072 Beth Haven Church Road, Denver, North Carolina. The reason I'm here, whenever I started this process, I had a double-wide mobile home on the lot, and in order to refinance, I had to subdivide my land to have a, so they couldn't refinance with both on the same. In the meantime of doing that, I had some quotes on the double wide, and they were also high. It was far beyond what I could afford to remodel it, and so I donated it to the Denver Fire Department, and they trained on it. And then after I cleared the lot up, after it was burnt, I started the permit process, and that's when I learned the 2-acre rule. I didn't realize it at the time. So here I sit, asking for approval to put my garage. I don't have, on my lot with my house, there's not enough land to put it behind the house or anywhere other than out front. And, I know it's been proposed that I put the lots back together, but that lot is now free and clear of a mortgage. And for security for me and my wife, if anything ever happens to us and I lose the home, I have a place to go. And that's why I asked for approval on granting me the permits to put the building there. I don't have any.
Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Sharp?
Mr. Sharp, did you prepare the proposed findings of facts that were submitted with the application?
Yes.
And do you wish to incorporate those as part of your testimony?
Yes.
Thank you.
Being no additional speakers, I will declare the public hearing closed, and I will now entertain a motion to approve the findings of the facts as submitted by the applicant.
I'll make a motion to approve the findings of fact as submitted by the applicant.
I have a motion by Commissioner Cecina. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I make a motion to approve SUP number 516, Stephen Sharp, based on the findings of fact.
We have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion stands approved.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so the next item we have on our agenda is the proclamation that October as Industrial Appreciation Month. And we have the dynamic duo stepping up.
His nickname at the office is Magic Man. He makes things
Okay.
happen the rest of us can't, so of duo, I'll give you that honor. Thank you for letting us come before you tonight, Commissioners. Every October, we celebrate Industrial Appreciation Month, and so the public knows right at 20% of Lincoln County's workforce is employed in manufacturing. It's a very vital part of our roots, and with advanced manufacturing and all the different avenues for different possibilities for great incomes for our citizens moving forward, we continue to do all we can to draw light to that and to celebrate industry's position in Lincoln County. And with that, our existing industry manager, Mr. John Dankoff, will read the proclamation.
Yeah, a lot of counties celebrate Manufacturing Day. Some celebrate Manufacturing Week. We've got so many activities in Lincoln County that we have to do it through a whole month. We kicked it off last Friday with our forklift rodeo. We had 12 different companies or 14 different companies participate. This week we have a supply chain and logistics appreciation event. The following week, our high school students, our advanced manufacturing students, will be touring 10 different industries, tours through the industries. And the following week, then we have our annual Lead Industrial Appreciation event. So A lot going on through the month of October, so we want to proclaim October as Industrial Appreciation Month. Whereas the County of Lincoln is pleased to have a thriving community of industries to support the local economy, and whereas these industrial companies provide essential employment opportunities for the citizens of the County of Lincoln, and whereas these industrial companies provide local revenues from which the entire citizens benefit, and whereas industrial businesses make considerable contributions to our families and communities, often improving the overall quality of life, and whereas we recognize and appreciate these industrial businesses, we would like the Board of Commissioners of Lincoln County to hereby recognize our existing industrial business, and by virtue of this proclamation, give notice to our citizens that the month of October 2024 is Industrial Appreciation Month in the County of Lincoln.
Thank you. I'd like to say that this weekend, or this past week, when we were doing the hurricane relief effort, there were quite a few of our local industries that stepped up and donated goods, and others do things as well. I had Cattler North America at the Cultural Center this week and brought a team of their leaders and came out and painted. So we're very appreciative of the industry that we have here and what they give back to the community. Okay, I will. I'll now entertain a motion to approve the proclamation proclaiming October an Industrial Appreciation Month.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lineberger. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Cliff,
All right.
an update.
All right. If I can do this correctly. Trying to advance to my next slides here. What I'm doing wrong, trying to find the slide deck that I forwarded. Well,
It pops up in the corner, disappears.
I'm still not seeing it. Is this supposed to advance it?
Is it the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes.
On the very
Go-
bottom.
Go to the bottom and
Okay.
where the red P is, click that,
Let me try this.
see if that.
I'm not getting your response out of the mouse. The mouse is not responding at all.
Well, just tell us what we need to know.
IT in the back, can y'all start the PowerPoint presentation for him?
There we go.
A PowerPoint.
Oh, okay, so, let's see, is this not on here? Yeah, we didn't have any presentations. Let's see what's back there on my computer.
Okay. If you can, I can move forward with that as I'm trying.
Just want to click that.
Slide deck.
We tried.
Give them 1 second,
We're
it's
not
not take long.
Touch screen.
Always pulling that up of some things that were not on the deck I wanted to bring to your attention. This is actually the 30th anniversary this year of our Industrial Managers Association, heralded as the finest existing industry group made up of plant leaders in the Charlotte region. They've done an outstanding job over the years of supporting their employees and also this community, as also mentioned tonight, but excited about it being the 30th anniversary. Some recent activities that we've been a part of and looking to create more and better jobs in Lincoln County. We recently participated in Select USA. That is an annual trade show event put on by the Economic Development Administration that for the United States, where we showcase our different communities and opportunities for foreign direct investment for desirable companies we want here. And Kara Brown represented us there and actually ran into the leadership of several of our local industries of their, not just their local leadership, but they're abroad, and we're able to get some updates there and learn of some new opportunities. Our biggest avenue for marketing is our website. We redid that 4 years ago. We are now reworking it again. So you'll see that in the new year. Very excited about the functionality that we have in the one now and how much more we'll have with that. John mentioned the job fair we had a few weeks ago was part of this month's celebration. Had over 140 individuals come through looking for better job opportunities here in Lincoln County. I know we set out a press release on this, you're aware of it, but a couple of weeks ago at the International Economic Development Council's annual conference, LEDA was presented a bronze award for innovative economic development projects for communities less than $250,000, and that was across not just the United States, but all the nations whose economic developers are part of that across the world. This is actually the second similar of such award that we've been given by them for our local workforce development efforts in the last 10 years. So if we can scroll down now to the first slide, please, sir. What you're looking at is annually, I'll bring you an update on where we are paying out our industrial incentive grants. Those highlighted in yellow are the ones that are still in their 2-year qualifying time. And we do this so y'all can have an idea as you start your budget talks of what to expect to pay out. Could scroll down to the next one, please. All the way down, yes, next slide. And you can see quite a number of the yellow that are in that qualifying period. And we actually requested an update from the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina last week to see where we stood in all 100 counties. Lincoln County ranked 7th in job creation for fiscal year 23-24. We are 11th in investment. Those are the highest rankings of any county in the Charlotte region. Above, yes, Mecklenburg. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Looking at our expected payments this year versus last year, not a very big change. What I came before you with last year, our expected payout was $1,006,048.87. Expected what we know so far for the next year's budget of that being a payout of $927,116. So not a very large monetary difference in those two. Next page, please. And to give an example, just so the public knows how this works, it's a total revenue neutral program. Approximate property taxes paid in Lincoln County last year, $4.1 million by industry and real property. Business personal, $3.1 million for a total of $7.2 million. Paying out that incentive grant amount last year of $1,006,000 netted a net profit to Lincoln County taxpayers of $6,193,950. Next, please. Thank you. An ongoing priority of this board has been to increase industrial square footage across Lincoln County. A lot of those numbers are supported by new buildings that have been built across the county. I'm excited about another new one coming up, totally built with private funds. The walls are now up, and the new Class A industrial facility under construction in the Lincoln County Industrial Park by Crescent. It's a 177,000 square foot building. It will be available for sale or lease. This is in addition to the other 1 million square feet that we just saw completed at Lincoln Commerce Center, and then you'll see clearing next year for another almost 1 million square feet in advanced manufacturing. I believe that is the end of those slides. And a few other things that are coming up, the Southeastern U.S. Japan Summit, where we focus on promoting the Southeastern United States to Japanese companies such as Cadillac, is being held in Charlotte for the first time in quite a while, and we'll be participating in that Monday the week after next. Thank you to that being sponsored by the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance that we fund. Coming up this weekend, we're taking part in a familiarization tour by industrial site consultants. They'll be in town on Friday, learning about the area, and then also we'll be hosting them with others in a private suite at the Roval 400 race on Sunday. That also is being funded for us, not out of our budget, but by the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance and their funders. John had mentioned the industry tours coming up. That's always a great event, and since many of our young people can learn about these opportunities here at home, I'd like to read out this impressive name of the industries that are inviting these students of where they will all be sitting. They'll be going by Analar, Vapor Honing, Leeboy, Gaston College, Unox, Hydak, Huber, Timken, Bloom, Aptar, and Bosch. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
I missed the second statistic. The first one was 7th in job creation.
And 11th in total investment.
Okay. Any questions, Cliff? No? Thank you.
This may be the last time that I am in front of a few of you that will not be on the board next year. I want to thank you, all of you, for your continued support of economic development. Anita, Kathy, Carol, it has been a pleasure to work with each of you, and I've greatly enjoyed it. Thank you for all you've done. Carol, you've always asked, what does leader need to be successful? And you've always helped with that, and those numbers reflect that. Thank you.
Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you, Cliff.
Okay, so our next item on the agenda is a public hearing to propose term limits. I first want to make you aware that Commissioner McCall referred our county attorney to a piece of information that she found from the Council of Government? School of Government. And Megan is going to explain that. We are still going to hear everyone that signed up, so you can voice your opinion, but I want Megan to read that to you.
Good evening. So in a previous meeting, it was discussed the potential of term limits. There is some guidance out from the School of Government that specifically says that term limits cannot be done on a county level specific to certain counties. Now, cases are referenced, and I, over the weekend, did read those cases. The Nightdale case is the largest case. This regarded a statute that said that no one could run for election that was currently sitting in an election. The case was based off of two councilmen that were running for mayor, and they told them they had to resign. They sued the State Board of Elections, and they won. The courts found that the North Carolina Constitution provides 3 requirements to hold office, and those are the only 3 requirements that can be enforced. One of those is unenforceable because it is a religious requirement based on Supreme Court. So the only way that a term limit can actually be done legally is through an amendment to the Constitution, and that is the state constitution, not the federal constitution. So what I advised the board over the weekend was that they can still suggest to the General Assembly that they would like to see term limits. But term limits cannot just be a Lincoln County thing. They would have to apply to the entire state, and it would require a constitutional amendment. So is there anything else you want me to cover on that?
No.
Huh?
It'd have to be on the ballot.
It would have to be.
Ballot.
Oh,
It'd have to be
yes,
on the
for a
ballot.
constitutional amendment, yeah.
Did
Is
y'all
that a
hear that?
state-
It would have to be on the ballot for a constitutional
And
amendment.
is that a statewide ballot, not just a Lincoln County ballot?
Correct. Because it would have to. Sorry, it would have to apply to all offices that are covered by the U.S., or not the U.S. Constitution, the North Carolina Constitution.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to the public hearing, and the first person signed up to speak is Jim Clifton. Mr. Clifton, if you'll just state your name and address when you reach the podium.
My name's Jim Clifton. I live at 425 Guy Hebner Road in Lincolnton. I originally come here to talk about term limits, what I signed up for, but obviously what we have to say is already decided that that can't happen. I still would support it. I think it needs to be done. Ms. Gilbert, are you saying no other county in the state has term limits? Do you know?
Not that I'm aware of. I do not know of any, but I do know that the state courts have said that you cannot require additional qualifications as a candidate.
Mr. Clifton, there are no counties in North Carolina that have term limits. The article that I read was from the School of Government, and if anyone wants to look it up, you can see it's on Coates Canon, and it basically states that it can't be it would have to be not just a North Carolina constitutional change, but also have to be put on the ballot, and that would be all 100 counties in North Carolina that would change at once. So that was something we didn't know.
Okay, well, we got new information, which is fine as long as you checked it out. But the other thing I would like to speak in support of is dividing this county into sections and assigning a commissioner to each one. I think it would lend to some accountability and a little more transparency, and we would know who to go to when we had our problems instead of just getting whoever we get sent to. So thank you for checking it out and letting us know, and
Thank you, Mr.
appreciate the
Clifton.
time to talk.
Thank you. Matt Craig. If you'll just state your name and address at the podium, please.
Matthew Craig, 1909 Thornhill Lane. Thanks again, here we are, third time around. Thanks for digging in, doing the homework. All of you who did say you were reading something, that's why we come up here to ask you for, to see if we could do this, right? Remember, the very first time we got here, we said we weren't coming after anybody, right? That was a fact, that was a true statement. So, you know where I stand on it. You know where the gentleman that's came with me for the last 3 weeks have stood on it. We've brought new faces every time. The one thing we haven't heard is any opposition from anybody out here, right? There's been zero opposition unless there's somebody in line behind me tonight that's going to oppose this. Nobody of the people, none of the people have opposed it. We can all agree?
Agree.
Can we agree that none of the people that's out here have opposed it? Yes, we can. It's all on video. We can go back and look it up. So, hey, we still want you to vote on it. Send it to the next level. Nothing that you have said deters what we wanted. We're asking you still to vote on it and send it to the next level. Was it not Lincoln County that was the only county or the first county to elect a sheriff, female sheriff, Ms. Pickens? Am I right? Yeah, I am. Right. We were pioneers in one thing. Let's do it again. Vote, send it there. Lincoln County, it's my opinion, if you look from a 60,000-foot view down at Lincoln County, it's a really good geographical representation of the state of North Carolina. Somebody said, God bless them up in the mountains, right? But even in our town, on the western end, we've got Vail down here in the city, reminiscence of Charlotte through Raleigh, right? And then we've got waterfront in Lincoln County. The county itself looks and displays North Carolina. Lead the way. Thank you for doing your job. Thank you for looking it up. Continue to do your job and have the vote on it. If it goes to the next level and it goes again, if it's a constitutional amendment, your name will be in the book one day. Right? It will.
Thank you, Mr. Craig. Next person is Ken Hebner.
Hey, good evening. How are you doing? Ken Hebner, 3980 Killian Road, Lincoln, North Carolina. Served 23 years, 5 months in the United States Army. Lincoln County has always been home. Lincoln County is my retirement home. This is where I belong. I would like to thank each and every one of you for your service to our county. I would also like to thank you for the efforts that you put forth in the last week or so in supporting the residents of Western North Carolina. I'm with Matt. You know, we've all been behind this thing. It's a proposal. We've all been behind this proposal. Honestly, the people that are here again and the people of this county really just want to know where each and every one of you stand on the matter. I mean, we've talked circles. We've had public hearing. Here's another public hearing, you know, for the 3 commissioners that are headed out. You know, thank you for everything that you've done for this county. And I'll say it this way too, is it's not, just like Matt, your job is not a job that I want. It is not one that I envy and I won't, okay? But I'll say it this way. We're gonna wait until the next 3 are here to voice our vote or to say how or where we stand on this. It's not right. And Matt and I both, and there's other gentlemen here and people here that have taken time out of their busy schedules, okay, to be here and to voice their opinions time and time again, just to get the opinion of the board where each and every one of you stand. and I'll speak specifically to the two gentlemen, the two commissioners, that, you're up for reelection next time, right? The people of this county want to know where you stand on this matter. And I fully understand all the legal and the law jargon and everything, where it has to go, be put on a ballot, all that. That's not where we're at here. Where we're at here is we want this board, the 5 members, the 5 county commissioners sitting in this room tonight to make a decisive decision. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And last person signed up is Jim Hallman.
Jim Hallman, 4350 Kings Trail, Vale, North Carolina. I served on this board from 92 through 2000, which was 2 terms. And from my viewpoint, it is good to have a second term because you're a lot better attuned to how business is carried on. So, going past that, I'd say that we should have at least a 2-term limit available. That's all I have to say. I'm all in favor of a 2-term availability.
Thank you, Mr. Hallman.
Thank you.
So I'll entertain a motion if there is anyone on the board who feels that even though, given the information that we have, that we propose term limits as presented.
If I may, Chairman, can I ask a few questions?
Yes, of course.
Let me say if I found it interesting that the email that I got was Sunday explaining all this from the attorney about what we could, what we couldn't, what we maybe couldn't, that kind of thing. I thought maybe we should have had that, or somebody should have known that before, say, yesterday. Next thing is, we talked about guidance. Like it says, the school government said guidance. Was that concrete that you have, it's gonna be this way, or they guided you in some kind of direction? Well, I'd like to have a little more clarification on that, about guidance, that you used that term earlier.
So the school of government, that's what they do. They provide guidance to elected officials, county attorneys, and county employees. So they are all attorneys, and they provide their attorney opinion and how they read the law and how they read the case law. Now, as to the email coming on Sunday, I was off on Friday and worked Saturday and Sunday. So I do apologize that it went out over the weekend, but I wanted to get it to you all before tonight's meeting. And also, Chairman Mitchum, I've worked on things in the past that have
I'm not
kind of...
chairman anymore.
Oh, well, Commissioner
Clarify
Mitchum,
that.
I've worked on things in the past and wasted my time, needless to say, because the board didn't support it. So that's why a lot of time hasn't been spent researching this. And there was back from General Assembly members, there was back from the Board of Elections in Lincoln County. So it was assumed that this was a possibility. But thank you to Anita, who provided that guidance to me. And therefore, I then did my own research and sent the email out providing guidance to this board.
I understand. I'll let you know that you got it out. I just wondered what about Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday 2 weeks ago that come up with this. But talk about guidance, talk about this, talk about that, and I'm gonna have to agree with Matt that what Lincoln County, and I said this in the last meeting we had about this, to get my opinion. Why can Lincoln County not be the one that goes forward in progress? All you hear when you get talking politics, everybody, oh, we need term limits, we need term limits. Well, I don't understand why it's such a big deal that we have an 8-year term, and then you can sit out 4 years and run again. So but somebody needs to start in North Carolina doing that, in my opinion. And I don't know whether it becomes a political issue or what it becomes, but it needs to be done, in my opinion. If that's said, I'll not say no more, because the more I talk, the more I might not. You won't hear what I got to say. If that's said, I'll make a motion to approve this term limit.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Any discussion?
one more thing. I'll go along with what the other guy, I forgot his name, said about, everybody should vote on this, yea or nay, let's see where you stand instead of just, so we're gonna put it to a vote.
That's what we're doing.
Okay, I just wanna make sure.
Okay. Megan, can we?
So here is my legal opinion, is that this Board of Commissioners has no power to make a term limit rule. All we can do is vote to either say you want the General Assembly to consider it and to consider making a constitutional amendment, or you don't. But at this point, this board can't make a decision, they don't have that power. But you can make a decision to make a recommendation or not.
And I'll rescind my motion, make it where it be put to the General Assembly for them to decide that. That's what I'll make that motion. We take it forward to the General Assembly. Is that what you were saying? Everybody good with that?
So it will not be a vote to propose term limits. It is a vote to recommend to the General Assembly. And that would come in a form of a letter from our Board of Commissioners to Representative Heather Wright. Or Senator Alexander. Okay. Okay, so we have a motion to recommend term limits. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Show of hands.
Okay.
We have a show of hands?
Any opposed?
No.
No.
I vote yes. So the motion passes 3-2. Now, that being said, you all know that it is just a recommendation.
If I may ask, Chairman, who voted no and who voted yes? Can that be?
Jamie and I
You-
voted
you-
no.
I, Jamie Lineberger, voted no. I personally think it's detrimental and it's opening up too many things. You can limit people and it's just, I think it's detrimental to what could happen. I'm just gonna run this scenario through here. You could have 3 people, because we have 3 people, then we have 2 people. What if you get a scenario where you have 3 sitting members who, they're not held accountable? They get voted a second term, so you've got 4 years that could be detrimental. You need 3 votes of this board to make a decision. So you could have 3 seats that are not held accountable because they know they're not being voted in another year, or another term. So anything's possible. So I just think it's detrimental to what in the county here.
With that being said, Jamie, the first thing I learned when I become a commissioner, you gotta count to 3.
That's correct.
It don't matter on whatever vote is. You don't have no 3 votes, you just throw it up there. I believe I learned that in a real hurry.
Okay.
But that could be either way, whatever.
Okay,
But
let's
anything-
have-
That's what I'm saying is, if you have 3 that are going out together, you could have 4 years of anything.
Go ahead, Mr.
You have
Mr.
anyway.
Cecina. Commissioner Cecina, go ahead.
My thought is it's relatively simple. Each one of us swore to uphold the Constitution of the state of North Carolina. This is in direct violation of that, and I'm going to vote no.
This is not a vote to change it. This is a vote to recommend it. We're not in violation.
That's not no violation.
No. I get
In
that in your
my
mind.
mind, I am violating my oath.
But your
Whether
opinion
you guys
is
are not.
your opinion.
Carol, how about let me just finish, please?
Stop.
Oh, go
But-
ahead.
Stop. Go ahead, but,
I'm done.
okay. So the motion is just a recommendation, as you all know. But as recommendations go forward, it is the opinion of previous representatives that must maintain a unanimous vote from this seat. So I just don't want to get your hopes up, because that is typically the requirement of any of our representatives, that there be a unanimous vote, okay? All right, we'll move forward. Item number 7, resolution to amend Chapter 13 of the Personnel Policy. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Emotions ran a little high and I forgot to close the public hearing. So officially, the public hearing is closed and the vote has been taken. So we'll now move to the resolution to amend Chapter 13 of the Personnel Policy. Megan Gilbert will present.
Commissioners, so before you tonight, I have an amendment to amend Chapter 13 of the Personnel Policy, which is the Internet and Email Use Policy. This amendment was done in conjunction with our HR Director and our CIO in a total review. The reason this amendment even came to light was Session Law 24-26, Section 7 required that all local governments adopt a specific policy that prohibits the viewing of pornography on government networks and devices, and that law became effective on October 1 and required that all governments adopt a policy no later than January 1 of 25. This was already briefly mentioned within that, within the personnel policy, but it did not include all of the requirements that were under the law. So in order to get those requirements into our policy, Section 13.6.1 was created in its entirety, and then amendments were done throughout the rest of that chapter to bring the policy more into compliance with the way the county works in its internet and email use, and just to bring it more forward with technological advances since the last time this was updated. So if any of you have any questions, I am here to answer them.
Any questions of Megan? Before we vote, are there any questions of Megan?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution to amend Chapter 13 of the Personnel Policy.
I'll make the motion to adopt the resolution amended Chapter 13 of the Personnel Policy.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lineberger. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The next portion of our meeting is public comments, and the only person we have to speak is Marie Moore. Marie, if you will come forward and state your name and your address, and I believe you are speaking for a group, is that correct? And everybody raise your hand if you are part of that group. Thank you.
My name is Marie Moore. I live at 8045 Lucky Creek.
Ms. Moore, hold on just a second. They're going to move the microphone a little closer to you so we can hear you.
My name is Marie
That's
Moore.
better.
I live at 8045 Lucky Creek Lane, Denver, North Carolina. And I'm coming to this board tonight to inform them that I'm very disappointed that we've not been able to get answers on some questions. I'll give you a brief synopsis of what's going on. On January 19, 24, we were told that Lake Hills Village, which is in our neighborhood, was zoned RS. Now, I tried to get, I've met with your manager, I met with Andrew, and I've met, but we haven't found any answers to the questions. Now, after getting no information to answer the questions, we asked the county manager. I got a copy of the 1988 trailer park information from Andrew Bryant. I've read that information, and I have found that under 13 non-conforming mobile home parks, it states that any mobile home park existing on the effective date of this ordinance, which has been properly registered with the administrator in accordance with Section 14. Under 14 administration, it states that parks must have been registered by July the 1st, 1988. On that Pacific Trailer Park, registration was not registered by that date. It was dated 1/27/89. And it was stated that they must complete a complete scale drawing and exact layout of the park. This must include a surveyed property plat and etc. So that means it is not a registered trailer park. And if it was, screening should have been applied on page 9 of the ordinance to the trailer park and the new rules. Now, here is what they're trying to do, is to use a survey plat from 2024 to make this a grandfathered trailer park. Now, we've been told that this is a grandfathered trailer park, but that can't be right because it wasn't registered on time. So I think what you've actually done is tried to grandfather the park, illegally, because what you've done is rezone the trailer park, but not according to the rules. Lincoln County personnel did violate state zoning regulation 160D 701 because the infrastructure was not in place. I do believe that the personnel knew this, and they assisted the owners and the sellers of that property. And it's strange to me that you can't submit a 2024 survey to meet the rules that go back to the 1980s. Several persons in our neighborhood have been misled by county personnel on several occasions. And of course, Senator Ted Alexander has been involved. And then when I got to checking, finding out other things, there's still an issue of the right-of-way for the trailer park that took access in the property, which was recorded by the Register of Deeds. I find it strange that you are trying to take a survey from David Jordan Surveyors from Statesville in January 2024 to back up to 1981 to change the property that led to this problem. The right-of-way was to remain a right-of-way so that lots 22, 23, and 24 had access to their property, and they are recorded in the covenants for Lake Hills Village. Now, Senator Alexander has met with us one time. The county commissioner states that the county attorney have researched these items. Then why isn't someone willing to share that information with our community? The county attorney has been in 2 meetings and never once has she addressed any of the issues that came up. I was told one time by one of the personnel that Craig Gates' property was still in business even though he's deceased. I called the number that I was told to call, and I heard the remark, "Lady, I don't have a clue what you're talking about." Now, Ted Alexander now tells us that he's too busy to assist us with these issues. Maybe after we met with him and Bud Cecina and others, Bud made the statement in that meeting that covenants weren't worth the paper they were written on. But covenants are registered and legal and binding agreements. I spoke briefly with Ted after our meeting, and he said he could not get a grasp on what was going on. Now, he has chosen not to help us because he's too busy, but I have contacted other state officials that are willing to see that we get the answers that we have requested. I have tried to get answers and handle the situation internally to correct these issues, but to no avail. I will continue to try to get answers and report to the appropriate agencies. It will be up to the correct agencies to get the answers that have the power to get the answers and correct this problem. Now, what I'm finding out is this is not an isolated incident. One of the persons in the tax department told me there have been other issues, so y'all may know about them. I do know of other issues that's handling, and I'm just making you aware that I'll say, for instance, and then I'm going to sit down. Kathy, I think you was going to call me, and you never did return my call. I left Jamie a message. I have talked to Bud, but these answers, and I do not understand why we can't get answers and why I never remember anybody having a hard time getting information. But just to make the board aware that we will get answers if we have to go to the state, and apparently that's what we have to do. Thank you.
Ms. Moore, I'll confirm with you that I spoke with Bud and I spoke with staff, and I could give you no other answers than they had already given you.
May I speak?
Yes, you may.
This is a local issue, and I read the emails from Senator Alexander today. This is not a state issue at this point. This is a local zoning issue, and that's why Senator Alexander is unable to help in any other fashion. It's not that he's too busy. It's because the state has no bearing on what we do as a zoning issue unless it comes through 160D or whatever that number is, and this does not. And so that's why Ted hasn't done anything more than Senator Alexander hasn't done anything more. When I told you that the covenants were not acceptable to the trailer park, it's because they're not. And no matter what anyone says, attorneys have looked at your covenants, and they are not signed by everyone in your neighborhood. And unless they're certified by everyone in the neighborhood, then they can't be enforced. And a neighborhood organization cannot enforce the covenants. Only one individual dealing with another individual can do that through the civil courts. I've learned that through two separate attorneys besides our legal attorney, our legal source. And on top of that, the state is taking a dim view of anything that's over 30 years old, according to another attorney that I spoke with most recently. So the covenants are something sort of like what we have over in Westport where I live. And unless everyone in the neighborhood signs off on them and agrees to them, every single soul, then the whole neighborhood does not have to abide by them. And that's what I found out to be the truth and to be the law. And I appreciate the fact that we met that afternoon and you stated your case. And I felt like the decisions and the answers that we gave, that Andrew gave on a number of occasions, that the county manager's given and that I've given as recently as this morning, was what we believe to be true through our legal staff. That's it.
Okay, next, there are no other individuals signed up to speak at public comments, so we'll move forward to other business. Is there any other business a commissioner would like to bring forward? Okay, we have Milton Sigmund, who is going to speak to us on public comments.
This is public comments, correct? I have back
Yes,
there
it is.
set up. Okay. Thank you very much to everyone. And I'd just like to go on record. Do what? My
Name
name
and
is
address,
Milton
sir.
Sigmund, 5044 Highway 73, Iron Station, North Carolina.
Okay, thank you.
What an honor it is to stand here and say that I'm proud of this county. The outpouring of relief effort heading to western North Carolina has been immense for the past week. To see folk come out, work all day long, day after day, sweat, get down to it, get it out. It's been just unbelievable. So I'm proud. I want the folk of our area to know that it's not only here, but we receive calls from all over America to the Lincoln County Airport. I was there every day. The staff was there and did an incredible job, all of us to be proud of. Our commissioners, more than several, came and participated. Proud of that. With that said, society, sometimes we get down. We get to battering each other and all that. This is an occasion when people come together for one effort. That's to serve our fellow mankind. And I hope that serving attitude can continue for all of us. It was wonderful. Tiring, yes, but gratifying, yes. To know you're doing what's right and not waiting on, in all honesty, our government, whether it be state or federal, to get with it and get the program. Thank you all. Thank you for time to speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Milton.
Thank you, Milton, and thank you for the role that you played in that effort. Okay, Anita. We have a need for closed session, and Commissioner McCall will read that motion to do so.
Closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged. I make a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to 143-318.11A3 to consult with the attorney, an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged. I make that motion.
We have a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So we now stand in closed session. Okay, we're back in open session. No action was taken in closed session. Before we entertain a motion to adjourn, Commissioner Dellinger has something that he would like to. Dellinger. the second time I've done that. What in the world? I don't know what. I don't know what. Okay.
So
Jamie.
I would like to read a statement
James.
from the leadership team of the Lincoln County Airport Disaster Crew. The Lincoln County community rallied together with so many across the state this past week to help provide Hurricane Helene relief in its neighboring communities and throughout western North Carolina. Local organizations, businesses, and individuals united to form an overwhelming relief network of all volunteers and were able to provide food and supplies. Drives volunteers their time in Lincoln County Airport, opening up its operations for pilots to fly into regional airports providing aid. It was an amazing act of service to witness. The Denver Fire Department has decided to continue the long-term relief effort and will work on getting specific needs to those areas where were hit the hardest while working closely with the local fire departments in western North Carolina in the upcoming weeks. So with that said, donations will be taken at the Denver Fire Department on Highway 16 moving forward. And for myself and for everybody else that was out there, it was an honor to be able to serve and to witness what was seen by the amount of people who volunteered. And it was great to see the community come together as one and to lead the way in something and help fellow community members. And everybody was on the same page. It was like it was a well-oiled machine and nobody had any training in doing what took place. And it was absolutely amazing.
That's incredible. Bud?
I move to we adjourn.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.